Hey, what's up you guys? So today is a normal video instead of the usual decks and player perspectives type stuff. I'm going to be making Banlist predictions. So, this isn't something I really wanted to do, but a few people said I should, so why not? I'll preface this by saying, of course, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! So, I mean, like, I don't have much of a reason to care, but, I do get videos, so, I know about what's going on and all that stuff, so it's also kind of hot. Anyways, yeah, so these are just my Banlist picks. Of course this isn't what's gonna happen. It's just stuff that I think could happen, should happen, not, or I don't know. So, don't flame me, whatever, you'll wake up tomorrow morning. Alright, so I'm gonna start with Unlimited and go up instead of starting with Banned and going down, because I feel like that's a cool, different way to do things. So, Unlimited, we've got Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi, I feel like the difference between 2 and 3 is pretty much nothing. It's one of those cards you really shouldn't even be running 3 of, I wouldn't think. I mean, like, it's not something you want to have 2 of in your hand. So, I think that 3 wouldn't make much of a difference from 2. In a sense, it gives, like, more of an out to things like Ophion or maybe Dracossack, but, I just think there's not really any reason for it to be just sitting there at 2, so, I think 3 would be fine. The next card is, Pot of Duality. I think that Duality should go to 3 because it's a consistency card, but it's also slow. And, I mean, if you have to play 3 Dualities in a row over, like, the course of 3 turns, then you should be moving really slowly and you shouldn't really be making plays, so I don't feel like that would be really a big issue. It's not really a broken card. It doesn't lead to victories, wins, whatever. So I don't think that it would be too bad. And that's all I've got going to 3. Let me know what you think of that. So the next is Semi-Limited, so you guys might be interested to hear this. The first 2 cards are Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos. These are cards that I've always been on the fence about hitting. I've always wanted them to get hit, but I always felt like Konami just probably wouldn't. I think that the best way to hit them might just be to put them both at 2. These are cards that when they're, and when they're played, they just cut your opponent out of so many options. They lock them out. And I don't believe that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of those things where, you know, you should be able to just play a card and shut your opponent out of so many different things. I mean, these are like side deck cards, but like these are like shutdown cards. So I feel like putting them both at 2 kind of like hurts the consistency of these cards. So you can't just side 3 copies and, you know, reasonably expect to draw them. And at this point, you know, when there are 2 of them, then it's a little easier to deal with and all that. The next card is TG Striker. Synchros are making their so-called return. So I feel like a generic level 2 tuner wouldn't be a bad thing to have. Let the TG engine be playable again. I don't think 3 Striker is what we need. I think that only 2 would be pretty manageable. But I do like the TG engine, so I feel like that would be pretty good to have. Gold Sarcophagus. I thought about putting this to 1, but I just felt like it's alright where it is. Or not, it's alright at 2 where it is. I don't think that putting it to 1 would be fair to other decks that actually need it, but I think that putting it to 2 is a slight cut to consistency for dragons, so you'll just always open with Gold Sark and get to banish your dragon and search your dragon and, you know, all the stupid stuff that they can do. But I still believe that it's just a card that the game needs, slower decks, whatever. Scapegoat, I decided not to put it at 3 because, you know, you can't be too extreme when you're moving cards on a list, I don't think. But I think Scapegoat to do wouldn't change very much about the game. Plasma Control is unfortunately dead. I mean, I'd love to see a format kind of like that come back, but it's not really going to happen. It doesn't need to happen because, you know, game needs to move forward. So, I think 2 Scapegoat, though, wouldn't change enough to be, like, game-breaking, but it would be nice for decks that do want to make use of Scapegoat and tokens and things like that. And the next card is the Transmigration Prophecy. Yes, I know there's a loop with it, but honestly, this game is moving really quickly. The Transmigration Prophecy at 2, you'll never get that loop off, and it's not even really a relevant side deck card right now as it is. I mean, it'd be nice to see it sided at 2. I think that that's something that I would certainly like to do. I mean, I like the card, but I don't feel that it's really broken enough to be at 1. But like with Scapegoat, you can't be too, you know, liberal with moving these cards in the list. So I just decided to put it to 2 instead of just 3. And now for the limited list. This is really long, and you guys are gonna, this is where I'll probably get the most flack. You know, he's stupid, doesn't know what he's talking about, crazy, idiot, whatever. Just listen and respect my opinions. So, it's really long. The first, Spellbook of Secrets and Spellbook of Judgment. So, ye old spellbook how to hit argument. This is just my take on it. I think that Spellbook of Judgment is a really broken card. However, I opted not to ban it because, I felt like spellbooks, to be fair, do need something like Judgment to search out a lot of their cards, all of their utility, because their spells are utility cards, but they have the issue of not being really easy to search and get to. So I think that 1 Judgment isn't actually as, like, just too unmanageable. I think that once you start resolving multiple Judgments, it becomes a problem. I think that once you have multiple Judgments in your deck, opening with 1 becomes too easy. I think that 1 Judgment should be something you have to work for with blue or secrets. And I opted to put secrets to 1 because I chose not to put blue to 1 because you can handle blue. Blue is Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. I call him blue. You can Veiler him, Fiendish him, break through him, you know, warning him if push comes to shove. But Spellbook of Secrets is a lot harder to stop if you don't have like Solemn, or I guess maybe Bride if you play that kind of thing, Maturity Beast, whatever. Then Spellbook of Secrets is harder to stop. So I think that Spellbook of Secrets could certainly go to 1. It searches blue and blue searches secrets, so I think that much cross searching needs to get some sort of a hit. So I think that with secrets and Judgment at 1, things would feel pretty balanced in spellbooks. They still have search power, but it's not just that uncalled for consistency that leads to first turn Judgment play so easily. I opted not to hit Masters, not to hit Starhall, and not to hit Fate. A lot of people name those cards in their lists, but I think that when you slow down the Judgment Secrets, you know, run, that thing that you push along, Fate and stuff, and all those, Starhall, become less usable, so I felt like those couldn't stay. Once these are gone, or at 1 apiece, I don't think those cards will be as meaningful. The next 2 cards are Atlantean Dragoons and Abyssphere. So Atlantean Dragoons hits the consistency of Mermails. This is something that a lot of people have said since really early on. You know, you hit Dragoons and that would handle it. I disagree. I don't think that just Dragoons would handle Mermails. I think with Dragoons at 1, Mermails would still be really powerful, really fast, really explosive. I think that Dragoons to 1 does still need to happen though, because Dragoons and Abyssphere is a really kind of broken combo. You get to search Pike and Megalo or Pike and Diva. It leads to a lot of OTKs. It's just really too consistent, too good of a pitch card. So only having 1 would be nice, so you don't open with as much. You don't just always have it there for Pike and for Abyssphere and things. And I hit Abyssphere because I thought about hitting Lind at first, but I realized Lind herself isn't that bad. I think that Abyssphere is actually a more threatening card because Abyssphere, there isn't a limit to how many you can activate in a turn. You can use it during either player's turn. It can save you in the battle phase. And it lead to OTKs. I think that at 1, there would be less plays that just get made on a whim. Like, you know, you just flip an Abyssphere to get an Abyss lead and just rank 7, or just do just so many things. So I feel like Abyssphere could go to 1, and that would actually hurt the deck more than hitting things like Lind or Megalo. Megalo just got reprinted, so I think that they want people to have access to Megalo. But by hitting these 2 cards, it would be a more balanced deck, I think. The next 2 cards, or the next card is Evilswarm Ophion to 1. The thing about Ophion, it's one of those cards, I really don't like cards that say you can't do something. I feel like that's the worst kind of stuff to have in this game. I just don't feel like that kind of stuff is good. I mean, like, you should never be able to tell your opponent you can't really play a game mechanic. And the thing with Ophion is it already protects itself by searching out the pandemic. And the worst feeling in the world is being able to finally deal with an Ophion, only to watch a second one come out that you just can't deal with. Like, you know, dealing with one Ophion is tough enough. You usually have to bait a pandemic and then find some other way to get over it. But when they just go into Kyrkion, or summon Kyrkion, you know, go into a second Ophion, it's game right there. I don't think that's really fair. I think that 1 Ophion would be fine, and Master Key Beetle's already new support for Evilswarm, so I don't think that Ophion really needs to be at more than 1. Next card is Rescue Rabbit. This is sort of a hit to Evilswarms. I know it seems like I just hate Evilswarms, but I mean, let's face it, I think I hit Spellbooks and Mermails a little bit more. Rabbit to 1 seems like a valid argument. It can still be used in different decks. It can still be used in like the older Stun Fire Fist. It can still be used in fun decks that use normal monsters. But now that there's Box of Friends, which makes some nasty combos itself, I don't think that really Rescue Rabbit needs to be at 2. They've already crept Dino Rabbit out, so Rescue Rabbit to 1 would be a good way to you know, hit decks like Evilswarms that have that kind of unfair factor of being able to open Rabbit and go Ophion and search at a plus. So I think Rabbit to 1 hurts the consistency enough to where people may not even want to play it and only play it in actual Rabbit decks, not just things like Evilswarms and Dino Rabbit. The next card is number 11, Big Eye. Everybody hates this card. I don't think it should get banned. Some people do, but I think that at 1, it becomes only an out, only an emergency card, and not just a leisurely, you know, just a luxury play that something like Dragons have access to. So that's why I think that it should go to 1. Once you use 1 Big Eye, you should really be able to just have the ease of dropping another. That to me gets really out of hand. So I decided that it should go to 1. The next card is Dracossack. A lot of people say Dracossack's not really an issue and it could stay at 3, but I think that it going to 1 would be fine. I think that after getting around 1 Dracossack, a player shouldn't really have to get around another Dracossack. It's a little much. Like, it already protects itself and it's a scrap dragon type thing. So when you can get around 1, I don't think they should have the liberty of just being able to make another. And there's already Master of Blades, whatever it's called. So that's another good rank 7 for them to go into. So I don't think that I think that by putting Big Eye and Dracossack to 1, you hit the dragon deck, and you know, any other deck that can make rank 7s shouldn't be able to make them that quickly. So you should only need 1 Big Eye, 1 Dracossack. The next card is Rekindling. This is just one of those cards that, I mean, like, you read it and it really doesn't make a lot of sense. Anything that can summon a mass amount of monsters from the grave just without really any repercussions, because let's face it, you're going to use all of them in Synchro or Z anyways, so the banishing at the end phase doesn't matter. That kind of stuff, it just needs to be limited. I mean, like, it's simple. Return for the different dimensions limited. Dimension Fusion, I mean, of course, got banned, so this kind of stuff just doesn't need to be around. I think Rekindling can go to 1. I mean, Fire Fists and stuff are already good enough. Next card is Lavalval Chain. Lavalval Chain, I know I'll get a little bit of flack for this, but I think the Infernities do need a bit of a preemptive hit. There are a lot of combos with Lavalval Chain that make the deck really fast, and next format, assuming the list hits, you know, Prophecy and Dragons and things, Infernities will probably be one of the sleeper decks that could do really well. And, you know, getting combos that just lead to triple barriers and breaks and stuff seems a bit overpowered, so I think a Lavalval Chain to 1 would be a good way to hit that. It still gives them access to a Lavalval Chain, but it cuts the speed and, you know, kind of stupidity out of the equation. The next card's called Haunted. I know it seems like it's balanced because people aren't really like using it right now, but it's a staple. I've never been a fan of all of this moving staples to 2 and 3 thing. I wasn't really too thrilled about Torrential and Mirror Force. I think we already have too many staples in the game and too many multiples, and I think that Call of the Haunted can still do a lot of really crazy things. It's a little bit worse than Reborn, but it's a 3, so, you know, do the math on that, and I think that going to 1 would be acceptable. There was a time in this game when it was considered too broken to be banned, so I don't really see what's changed. The next card is Drag Down in the Grave. This card is really unfair. Dark World makes this card really unfair. You play it and just, I mean, you get into your opponent's hand, you get to see their hand, you get to pitch anything you want from their hand, you set off your Dark World effects, you just speed, it goes for your turn. Dark World's really disruptive as it is, and I think that this they're really just kind of too broken. The next card is, I think that Miracle Fusion, putting it to 1. I know this sounds hateful, blah 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 blah, but it's just such a sacky card for heroes. I thought about putting like E-Call to 1 and like maybe Miracle Fusion to 2, but I just felt like Miracle Fusion to 1, maybe it seems something that could go to 2, but I put it at 1, is because like you top deck it and it sacks so hard. But I guess maybe it is a bit harsh to put it that way, and maybe just something like Super probably would be better. So tell me what you guys think of that. But I put Miracle Fusion to 1. Maybe that is harsh. Let me know if you think it is. Maybe it's something that should be changed. But I'm not a really big hero fan. I don't like the sack factor involved in the deck. And last but not least is Mystical Space Typhoon. More of a personal pick than a game balance pick. I just think that you'll value your Mystical Space Typhoon more if there's only one copy of it. So that's just me. Feel free to disagree. I think that we do already have things like Night Beam and Dust Tornado, so maybe force players to use something a bit different, and maybe it'll be fine. And here are the cards that are banned. Card Destruction. Sorry about it, but this card is ridiculous in Dragons and Dark World. Honestly, I don't even know which is worse, Dark World or Dragons, with Card Destruction, because it's so disruptive to your opponent, and your opponent really gets nothing that they can do about it. Like, if they don't have Solemn on the spot, I mean, this card really gets out of hand. Too many draws, too much setup, all in one card, disrupt your opponent, it's ridiculous. And Super Rejuvenation, I banned it. I think that it's a little worse than Judgment in some ways. I know that Judgment gets a monster out and can usually get more cards than Super Rejuve. Super Rejuve can be used multiple times a turn and get unnecessary pluses, pitch more dragons. You get rewarded for pitching the already broken dragons. I just think it's still a bit stupid, crazy, out of hand. So I think that Super Rejuve should be banned. And the last card that I think should be banned, and I'll probably get a little bit of flack for this, is number 16, Shockmaster. I'm just in disagreement with cards that just say you can't activate something. I know that Shockmaster isn't a big deal now, and some people will even argue that it's a check for things like dragons and spellbooks, but presuming that these cards get hit in the next ban list, hopefully that kind of hard out won't be needed. And I just don't like Shockmaster. I don't like that you can just, spells. Your opponent literally can't play spell cards. It's not that it negates a spell card once a turn, something like Shein, which is already bad, but this just really locks them out of it, so I think that that's really crazy. So those are my ban list picks for next format in September. As always, feel free to disagree or whatever, but those are just what I think could, should, would get hit. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me for more content like this. Also, check out my social network initiative that I'm doing. I have a Facebook page. It's really cool. I post pictures and updates and videos and stuff. I don't have very many likes, so I'm trying to get to like 30 so I can start tracking it and then get more. It'd be cool, so like that. I have a Twitter page where I post tweets, usually while I'm at locals, and I post tweets whenever I upload a new video and all that stuff. And I have an Instagram account where I post pictures, really funny stuff from locals. So it's cool, and I may get like a blog or Google Plus or something, but I don't have those yet. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember to subscribe. Hopefully I can get to 1,500 subscribers or something soon. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.